You walk past a window display and something stops you. It is not a need. It is not a plan. It is a pull. Your brain has already decided before your conscious mind catches up. The question is not what you are buying. The question is what is buying you. Every purchase starts with a gap. A small empty space between how you feel and how you want to feel. That gap is not about the object. It is about identity. You are not choosing a pair of shoes. You are choosing a version of yourself who wears those shoes. You are not buying a watch. You are buying a story about time, status, and who you are in relation to others. But here is the uncomfortable part. That story is almost never true. Think back to the last thing you bought that you did not really need. Not the groceries. Not the replacement for something broken. The thing that made you pause, justify, and then click buy anyway. What were you feeling right before that moment? Bored? Stressed? Anxious? Slightly inferior after seeing someone else's post? That feeling is the real transaction. The product is just the receipt. Psychologists call this the emotion regulation function of spending. You are not acquiring. You are coping. And the coping works for about 3 minutes. Then the feeling returns, and the gap widens because now you have less money and more clutter. This is the hidden loop that keeps so many people running in place financially. There is a famous study from the Journal of Consumer Research that tracked the emotional states of shoppers before and after discretionary purchases. The researchers found that the anticipation of buying produces a dopamine spike that is actually higher than the pleasure of owning the item. That spike happens the moment you imagine yourself with the product. The moment you hit checkout, the spike begins to fall. By the time the package arrives, you are already chasing the next spike. This is not a spending problem. This is a brain problem. Your brain does not care about your bank account. Your brain cares about immediate relief. And the modern marketplace is engineered to give that relief in milliseconds. One-click ordering. Buy now, pay later. Free shipping thresholds. All of these are not conveniences. They are bypasses for your rational mind. They are designed to shorten the time between impulse and action so that your prefrontal cortex never gets a chance to speak. And your prefrontal cortex is the only part of your brain that can save you. Let us talk about what actually happens in that 3-second window. You see something. Your amygdala fires a quick emotional signal. Your nucleus accumbens releases a small hit of wanting. Then your prefrontal cortex gets the message and begins to evaluate. Do I need this? Can I afford it? Is this aligned with my goals? But if the emotional signal is strong enough, or if you are tired, or hungry, or stressed, the prefrontal cortex loses. It gets outvoted. This is not a character flaw. This is neurology. And the companies that sell you things know every inch of this map. They know that scarcity works. They know that social proof works. They know that anchoring works. They know that if they show you a higher price first and then a lower one, your brain registers it as a deal even if the lower price is still too high. They know that if they tell you how many people are viewing the same item, your fear of missing out activates the same neural circuits as physical pain. They are not selling products. They are selling emotional regulation in a box. So what do you do when the system is designed against you? You stop asking whether you can afford it. You start asking why you want it. That question changes everything. Because when you trace the want back to its source, you almost never find a genuine need. You find a feeling you are trying to escape, or a feeling you are trying to manufacture. And once you name that feeling, you take away its power over your wallet. Think about the last time you walked into a store just to browse. You did not need anything, but you left with something. That is not a coincidence. That is the result of a carefully designed environment. The lighting, the layout, the music, the scent. All of it is calibrated to lower your defenses and raise your emotional arousal. And the longer you stay, the more likely you are to buy. This is why online stores have infinite scroll. This is why they show you recommendations based on what others bought. This is why the checkout process is as smooth as glass. Every friction point has been removed except the one that matters most, your own awareness. Now here is the counterintuitive part. The people who spend the least are not the ones who resist the most. They are the ones who understand their own psychology the best. They know their triggers. They know their weak times of day. They know that after a long meeting they are more likely to buy comfort. They know that at 11 p.m., scrolling in bed, they are more susceptible to novelty. So they build systems. They delete the apps. They use one-click blockers. They wait 24 hours before any non-essential purchase. They do not rely on willpower. They rely on structure. Because willpower is a limited resource. It depletes. Studies have shown that making repeated decisions exhausts your ability to make good choices. This is why you are more likely to impulse buy at the end of a long shopping trip. This is why you cave on dessert after a day of healthy eating. Decision fatigue is real. And retailers know exactly when you are most fatigued. That is why the candy is at the checkout. So the real skill is not saying no. The real skill is avoiding the moment where you have to say no. You can do this by creating friction between you and the purchase. Unlink your payment methods. Unsubscribe from promotional emails. Set a rule that any non-essential item over $50 requires a 3-day cooling-off period. These are not restrictions. They are liberations. They give your prefrontal cortex the time it needs to override the amygdala's fire alarm. And here is the deeper truth. The things you truly need are rarely the things you impulse buy. The things that matter to your life are usually planned. The things that drain your wealth are usually spontaneous. This is not a moral failing. It is a behavioral pattern. And patterns can be rewired. You can start by tracking your purchases. Not with judgment. With curiosity. Write down what you bought, how you felt before, and how you felt after. Within 2 weeks, you will see a map of your emotional landscape. You will see that stress leads to tech upgrades. Boredom leads to clothes. Social comparison leads to anything that signals status. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Then you shift. Instead of buying to feel better, you do something else. You go for a walk. You call a friend. You write in a journal. You do something that costs nothing but gives you real regulation. And you will find that the urge fades. Not always, but more often than you expect. Because the urge is not about the thing. The urge is about the gap. And the gap closes when you stop trying to fill it with objects and start trying to understand it. So the next time you feel that pull, pause. Ask yourself, what am I really trying to buy? And then answer honestly. You might find that what you were looking for was never for sale. That is the psychology behind buying things you do not need. And once you see it, your money stops leaking. Your decisions stop being automatic. And you start owning your choices instead of your choices owning you. You walk past a window display and something stops you. But now you know why.